Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be, we are moving too fast. I got an email here from a guy, I think he's in Germany, and he says, "Hello Corey, I can't express how thankful I am for finding your book. Trust me, only 10 pages of your book saved my relationship." Well, make sure you read the rest of it, dude, because most of the relationship stuff is towards the latter half of the book. He says, "Now cutting to the chase, the story goes like this. I met a girl recently through a common friend of mine. She is really hot and we share the same interests. Our chemistry is like unbelievable." Isn't it awesome when it's like that? It's worth the wait, because when you get to the point where I'm at in my life, where I only date really super high quality, beautiful women, the kind of women I think are fucking 10 that are a knockout, it's like once you've dated women like that, and you've been in relationships like that, and you've been in love with women that are crazy about you, that feel that way, it is a completely different level. And if you haven't experienced that in your own life, it's like me trying to describe to you what a rose looks and smells like when you've never seen a rose and you've never smelled a rose. You have to experience it. Because once you experience that kind of super high quality relationship with a super high quality woman, you're not going to want to go back to a 6 or a 7, even though they might be beautiful and fun and everything. But you're not going to have the chemistry. You're not going to have the same interests. You're not going to be as excited to be around them. You're not going to make as much of an effort that you will with a 10. It's like getting used to driving around Ferraris and Lamborghinis. It's like you don't want to go drive a Toyota Camry. I mean, even though it's a nice car, it'll get you to where you want to go. But at the end of the day, it's not a Ferrari, it's not a Lamborghini. You want the best for yourself, and you deserve to have that. So good for you, dude. He says, this friend of mine who introduced me to her actually had read your book already, and he told me to wait until she gets back to you always. In 3 weeks, we've met 3 times, and every time she took the first step. Later on, we started meeting more often and texting back and forth quite often. Now, what I teach in my book is that usually by the second or third date, you've usually had sex with the girl, and when you do everything right, what's going to happen is, because what you want to do is you want to schedule a date like once a week. And so usually by the second week or the third week that you're dating, because you've made her feel so comfortable and you have such a good time together, she's just naturally going to want to reach out to you and just text you things like, "Oh, hey, I was thinking about you," or "Oh, I had a wonderful time the other night. I can't wait to see you again," or "I miss you," or "I'm thinking about you." And so when a woman reaches out and says those kinds of things, you just simply respond back. Simple things like, "Oh, baby, that's so sweet. I feel the same way. I can't wait to see you again. When are you free to get together next week?" And you send that back to her, and she'll tell you when she's available. Then you make the next definite date, and then you get off the phone, because the phone is only to be used for setting dates. Because as a man, when you're not with your girl, you should be focused on your life and your purpose, your career, your business, whatever it is that you do for a living that excites you and jazzes you. Because a man who is successful at achieving and accomplishing his purpose in life is going to be happier than the average guy who's walking around not enjoying the type of women he's dating, if he's meeting any kind of women at all, and he fucking hates his life because he's doing something for a living that totally sucks, or he's not happy and he's not fulfilled. So, but I don't teach you just to wait for the girl to do everything, meaning have her initiate all of the contact, because most women won't do that, but there's a give and take, and the idea is the ideal balance is like 70 to 80% of the texting being initiated is always done by her. And when you get 2-3 weeks into the relationship and you're dating, she'll be texting you several times throughout the week. And so when she does text, you simply use that as an opportunity to arrange the next date. And that way she's always chasing you. And at the end of the day, it's a scientific fact that women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear. And it doesn't mean that you're a cold dick and that you don't communicate what you think about her or what you like about her or what you love about her. All it is that when she gets a little doubt in her mind and she becomes a little uncertain when she hasn't talked to you in a couple of days, she reaches out to you. And when she reaches out to you, you be sweet back. You're like, "Hey, baby, it's great to hear from you. It's great. Oh, it's so awesome to wake up in the morning and see a text from you with your name there. It just lights me up inside. It makes me feel awesome. When are you free to get together?" And then you just roll right into making the next date. It's awesome that way. Because if a woman is always chasing you, she's not going to be dumping you. And it's a lot better to be, if you're in a position and say your relationship's not working out, it's a lot better to be the person that does the dumping as opposed to being the person that gets dumped. And besides, at the end of the day, women don't want the control in a relationship. They don't want to control the direction of the relationship. They want the man to do that. I mean, at the end of the day, you're the one with the penis. Hopefully. He says, later on, we started meeting more often and texting back and forth quite often. And everything was smooth until a week back, which was 50 days since my first date. He says, I didn't know Russian girls could drink vodka like water and Indians can't. This particular guy that wrote in he's Indian. He says, I got drunk way before her and poured out my emotions. I even asked her, can I call you my girlfriend? And what I always teach and what I learned is the best way is that when a woman feels really comfortable and she's falling in love for you and she wants to be exclusive with you, she's going to bring it up. She's not going to come right out and say, I want to be your girlfriend, or I mean, sometimes she might, but usually she'll start talking about it or say something about other, I know you're probably dating other girls, but I'd be really mad if I found out that you were sleeping with other women. And so you just start simply asking questions like, what are you saying, sweetheart? What do you mean? She's like, well, I'm kind of, things are going really well between us, and I'd kind of like for us to be exclusive or to know that I'm only with you and that you're only sleeping with me. And you say, so are you saying that you want me to be your boyfriend, or what are you trying to say here? And you ask questions. It's always better to ask questions with women to get to the bottom of what they really mean, because feminine energy tends to be a little bit indecisive, and they're not going to be really direct about it, but they'll bring it up. And so when they bring it up, you ask them questions to get them to reveal what it is that they really want. And they say, well, if she says, yeah, I want you to be my boyfriend, like, cool. I mean, I'm totally down with that. I'm happy being exclusive with you. And so if you want to be boyfriend and girlfriend, that's awesome. I'm honored, sweetheart. I adore you. I love you. Whatever it is, how you feel in that moment in the relationship, just go ahead and express it. It's okay to do that. But the cool thing is that because you haven't brought it up before, she's been wondering about it, and she's been thinking about it, because the more her emotions rise for you because you're doing everything right, the more she's going to want to nest, the more she's going to want to be with you, the more she's going to want to see you like every day as opposed to a couple of times a week. And it just naturally evolves till eventually you're living under the same roof together. He says, later that day she called me and said, we have to cool things down and we are moving too fast. And see, you brought it up, even though you were drunk, it's what you were thinking, and she basically communicated, I'm not ready to be exclusive with you yet. That's all that means. And he says, I got away saying that I was really drunk, and I told her I have no problem taking it slow. Nice way to recover. Good answer. It's about all you really could say in that situation. He says, though, I was really not sure why she didn't want to move to the next step, because everything was fine, great chemistry, and we enjoyed ourselves each time we meet. Well, at the end of the day, you can't take it personally, dude. It just communicates that you simply haven't gotten her to that point. And since, you've only read 10 pages of my book, and so there's probably a lot of other little subtle things that you're fucking up or you're doing wrong that it just means that she's not there yet. So under normal circumstances, when you know what you're doing, it should take about 2 months for a woman to fall in love. But if you're just learning about this stuff, it may take you 4 months or 5 months. It's like, who fucking cares how long it takes? The idea is you simply, as a man, you just arrange the next opportunity for sex to happen, which is a date, which I like to call it. And just keep doing that and keep getting better, keep working your skills, and eventually she'll fall for you. And she'll want to be exclusive with you, and she won't want you dating or anybody else. He says, I went back to my friend, and he recommended your book, and I directly skipped to part 6 just to know what I should do immediately. So I wish I got to know about your book way earlier. The good news is you got it. He says, I waited for her to get back to me again. Meanwhile, I made sure that I had no problem taking it slow. I even postponed one of our meetings. He says, I met her yesterday, 57 days since we met. We had a great time, and she told me, why do I think you like me more than you like me? And then he says, I guess because I'm the first skinny brown guy to hear that. I guess I'm the first skinny brown guy to hear it from a hot blonde girl. We had a nice time. I don't know if that's the greatest response when she says, I think I like you more than me. You can just tease her and you can be playful with it, and you can just say something like, well, it's just because I'm so absolutely awesome that you have such a good time with me, and you can't believe that you're with such an awesome skinny brown dude from India. I mean, something fun and playful like that, and she'll giggle and laugh, and you say, come over here, baby, and you have her sit in your lap, and you just look her in the eye, just say, sweetheart, I adore you. And then you kiss her and you start making out with her. And then because the thing is that she's unsure of herself at that point, and so basically she's looking to wonder to get some confirmation that you kind of feel the same way. The idea is not to be a cold dick in those moments, because then that can cause her to pull away. He says, question, do I hold the same strategy of letting her get back to me? I don't want her to assume I am losing interest. The fallback position is always at least once a week you call her for a date. That's, if you haven't heard from her. But the idea is that if you're doing everything right and you stick to that once a week strategy, what happens is if you're doing everything right and you're driving her interest level up and she's feeling more and more attraction for you, the longer you guys are dating for, then she will start reaching out to you more and more. But if you're fucking things up, it will delay it to the point where, especially like if you're only calling her once a week and she's not calling or texting you at all, it means that you probably have done things that have sent her interest level in the wrong direction. He says, do I follow this till she says that she loves me? It's like, absolutely. You just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And eventually, as you get things right and you figure that balance out, it's like I talked about in my book. My first girlfriend, my first great love of my life, it took us 1.5 years to get exclusive. And that's because sometimes I would do things right. Sometimes she'd put me in the friend zone and I would have to fucking walk away, and it'd be 2 or 3 weeks before I heard from her again. Then we start dating. It's like as I did things right, her interest would go up, and as I did things wrong, it went down. But it took me 1.5 years dating this girl to get her to the point where she wanted to be exclusive. And it's like I finally got the balance. I finally figured out the balance of hanging back and coming on and being direct. And that's something that can be really tough, and that's why I said just follow the strategies and make sure you know my book backwards and forwards. You need to read it 10 to 15 times because there's so much information there. There's so many little subtle clues, little nuances of the courtship, when it's okay to touch, when it's appropriate to hold her hand, and those kind of things. Because the idea is always want her reaching out to you. You always want her initiating contact. Not that you have to do it all the time, but you have to notice, like if you're walking down the street and you're holding hands and then she pulls her hand away, you don't grab her hand back. You wait for her to come back, because women are like cats in that respect. It's all part of how they test your strength to make sure you're not needy and you're not insecure and you're totally cool with them running off with their girlfriends and doing whatever it is that they're going to do. He says, I've only covered 20 pages of the book so far, and it does not mention what to do when they get in touch with you via Facebook or text messages. I think I've covered that already. It's like it doesn't matter how they get in contact with you. The idea is that when they reach out, you make the next date. And so if you got a question you want to ask me, there's a topic you want me to cover in a future video newsletter, go to my website, click the Contact Me tab, which is going to be the left-hand side of your screen. Send me 1 to 2 paragraphs max detailing your questions, your situation, or your challenges. And you just got to give me several days to get back to you with a response, because I get a lot of email from the internet, and I also get a lot of it from my paying phone coaching customers. But be patient, and I will get back to you. If you want to talk to me right away, the quickest way to get my help is to book a paid phone coaching session. And you can do that by going to my website, click the Products tab, which is going to be at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions. If you want to get a digital version of my Kindle ebook, go to my website, and on the right-hand side where the email sign-up box, underneath the email sign-up box, there'll be another box that'll have a link to the Amazon Kindle download page. Click that, and once you arrive on the right-hand side of the Amazon download page, there'll be a button that you can click that'll bring up a window where you can download one of their free Kindle e-reader apps, because you don't have to have a Kindle device to read my book. Download one of their free apps for your Android smartphone, your Android tablet, your iPhone, your iPad, your Mac, your PC, whatever electronic device you want to read it on. They've already got an app for it. Once you download that, it takes a matter of seconds, and then only a few more seconds to download my book, and you'll be reading it in no time. And I will talk to you soon.